Hello. I didn't check my audio. We're good. The dogs are sleeping and it makes me want to sleep. Like just now, it's just like naps sound really good. Hey, Fat Bob. Welcome in. Thank you, Zelo. I may have asked you this already. Is it Zlo or Zelo? Pumpkining? We're making pumpkins. Mm, we're gonna throw some. Because it's gonna take me, well, maybe not a full month, but like roughly a month to make any pumpkins at all, right? And my plan is to get 20 or so for the end of September or so. So I want to give myself plenty of time to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. An old wrestler, will always be available. Interesting. Yeah. The thing about pottery, especially if you're making any seasonal items, I don't make a ton of seasonal items. Halloween's kind of the only thing that I make seasonal items for. Is you have to start well in advance. Especially if you're trying to make any number, right? How to create a new account. Gotcha. Interesting. So I figured I would get started early because I don't have a ton of other things right now to throw, like in the pipeline, as it were. I do want to add some more mugs into the same shop drop, just because I'm a little low on those as well. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do any animal pots for it or not. We'll see. Generally, the one time that I've done this before, right? I don't think I had any new animal pots to put up with the pumpkins, which is fine. I also don't remember how much clay I was throwing them with a year ago. Not that it's important that they're all the same or anything. I like that they vary. Hey, Andy. So it's not a big deal. I just don't remember generally whereabouts we hit. So we'll figure something out. They're also one of the harder forms that I throw. I throw them as an enclosed form. I think last time I did decide that they were cleaner if I threw them with a solid base and then cut the base off, rather than leave them without a base, because then I don't have to trim as much. So I think that's what I'll do. I know none of this means really anything to a lot of people, but I'm just kind of thinking it through out loud for myself. Um, so, yeah. How's everybody's Thursday? How's the week been? I'll get this. I think I might just use, there's a wad of clay here that was reclaimed clay, I think, that's, I don't know, like 3.5 pounds. It might be too much, but I think we'll just go ahead and use that and get started. I need to wedge it a little bit, so it's just what's left in this bag of clay. That's the one nice thing about these pumpkins, is because they're all a little bit different, I can kind of use up some clay, like this, what's left in this bag kind of deal. I don't I don't have to try and hit a certain amount. Where is right here? So I can kind of just use what I've got. I have a feeling this clay is probably wet as well, considering it was offcuts of throwing. Yeah. Yep, sure is. It does need wedging though. We'll see how bad it sticks to the table. Hopefully the table will actually pull a little bit of the moisture out of it. Ideally, I would wedge it on my plaster table, but that's where you guys are currently sitting, so. Yeah, this is soft clay. We're gonna wedge it a good amount because there's quite a bit of air in this, and it'll help pull out some of that moisture. Like this huge air bubble that's right there. But you can see how sticky it is. Normally, if the clay isn't super wet, it won't stick to my hands like that. And I'm just moving it around the table so that it gets to a drier piece of the wood, right? Gives the wood a little bit more of a chance to pull some of that moisture out. But this is, I don't know, like I said, 3.5 pounds maybe, just under that. In frame if I scoot back a little bit. Yeah, okay. There's also some woo, I don't know that it's really woo, but that suggests wedging helps to align the clay particles in a spiral fashion, and we are putting them on a wheel that is going to turn them in a spiral. So there's some suggestion that that helps in the throwing, in the ease of throwing. I don't know how true really that is like how like I don't know. I would like to see more evidence, I guess, before I subscribe to that idea. That we're certainly creating layers in a spiral. I don't know that we are getting down to a particular level to align clay particles. Yep, pumpkins already. How are you, paleontologist? I figure I might as well get started plenty early, so I have plenty of time. But also that they'll likely take me, if I'm trying to make 20 of them, and I do 5 in a day, and each of those 5 takes a month to get through, right? It'll probably take me closer to 2 months to finish all of them, maybe. So, better to start now and have them done and ready. All right, I'm not seeing any more air bubbles, so we're probably just gonna roll with that. This is soft clay. Hi, buddy. So we'll have to keep that in mind, but yeah, from the very beginning, right? I think that's one of the cooler things about making stuff on Twitch and then selling stuff is that people can see the whole process the whole way through, which is cool. Because usually you don't get to see that, right? You either, go to somebody's Etsy or see them at a market or what have you. And you only get to see the product, which is fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's something cool about getting to see it the whole way through. Before my hands get much dirtier, we're gonna switch our view there. I think that should be okay. We can get a little bit closer. Even on TV, yeah, you get kind of the cut up version. And even on places like Instagram, sometimes process videos, because of the format, they're all sped up. Or most of the time they're sped up. And B, you're getting, 10-second clips of the process. Hey, Hella, how are you? Oh, that hurt. Ouch. This old house. Yeah. I'm doing pretty all right. I haven't watched This Old House. Granted, I haven't had cable in a very long time now. Eight-hour streams or 1 minute time lapse, exactly. There is no in between. Excited to make some pumpkins? We'll see. I haven't. So I started making pumpkins because they were difficult for me. I was like, I want to improve my throwing of enclosed forms. And people really liked them as well, which is great. But I haven't thrown enclosed forms probably since the last time that I made pumpkins. So we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go today. At least I'm not expecting a lot from the first one. We'll see how the rest go. Get off of me, hair. You are unneeded. Not a chance, 8 hours today, paleontologist. We'll probably do 3 to 3.5, and that'll be good for me. Gosh, I get sore after 3.5 hours of throwing. Like, that's a lot, especially so I'm like this most of the time. So my upper back, because my head is down, and then my lower back from sitting like this, I really need to get myself a stool that has more of a tilt to the pelvis so that I'm sitting more at an angle. Would help as well, ergonomically. But even after 3.5 hours, I'm pretty shot. Want to get into throwing, always wanted to try it. And like where to get wheels. So I always recommend if you want to try it, going to a community studio first, because they have all of the equipment. You don't have to purchase any equipment, because the equipment, especially for wheels and stuff like that, is expensive. Hey Nick, hey Jeff. Paleontologist, the Visual Arts Center of Richmond has, I think it's on second Fridays, but definitely check their website. They have like a one-time session where you get to they'll teach you some basics and you get to sit down at the wheel. It's like a 3-hour session, maybe 2.5 hours. You get to sit down at the wheel. They give you like 3 or 4 pieces of clay and you get to try it out. And if you think you're like, oh, I want to continue with this, they certainly have more classes. But Visual Arts Center of Richmond is where I fire my stuff anyway. And it was where the studio that I started at before I got my studio at home. I love it there. The instructors are great. It's a great atmosphere. They also have other classes as well if you're interested in woodworking or anything like that. I know you do some stuff in that realm. They've got all kinds of stuff. Way easier to do long throwing sessions with Patrick Swayze. Did we set up my counter? I don't think we did. Son of Pat, my plan is to set up a counter of Ghost references. So like Ghost has been referenced in this stream X number of times. Robert from the community center? Yeah, something like that. Well, because it can't just be Patrick Swayze, because people reference Unchained Melody too. So it has to be like the movie Ghost. Roadhouse is a fantastic movie. With quality lines like, pain don't hurt. And like Patrick is beautiful in that movie, and oh shit, why does his name completely, it just left my brain entirely. Swayze was a babe. Mustache. He had long hair in that movie. Deep gravelly voice. Help me out. Was also in Big Lebowski. Oh, Christ. What? Oh, the titties? Yeah, Fat Bob, the titties. There are also the titties. Sam Elliott, thank you. Who's a beautiful man as well, if unfortunately very Republican, but you know. He is. Yeah, unfortunately. Right? It's like, man, ruined a good thing. This was reclaim clay, so we'll see how we go throwing it. It should be all right, but so yeah, I think from last time, from what I recall, I tried throwing ones with bases and without bases because I want the bottom to be open anyway. And I think it gave me a cleaner cutoff if I threw them with bases and then just cut it off rather than without bases, and then I have to trim it. Because if you throw it without a base, you typically have to leave the base a little bit thicker just so it has some connection to the wheel. And I think I found that I can make it a little bit nicer. I don't have to do quite so much trimming if I just chop off the whole bottom of it. Means a little bit more reclaim, but let me see. I also don't know how wide I want this to be. How do we look? We're okay. Because we're gonna come out some as well. But yes, Roadhouse is a fantastic movie. In the way that it is not actually a really good movie, it is very 80s. So bad it's good. Yeah, it's kind of that. It's a rabbit hole to go down. I've seen, so that was part of my, when I first got into throwing again, right, outside of high school, I went down the YouTube rabbit hole for longer format clay videos. there are certainly more out there now um, than there were 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Um, but I learned a lot. Um, like a lot more than just going to classes. It was kind of that hyper focus of, all right, well tonight I'm watching this hour-long documentary on this one potter so I can kind of see their process and that kind of thing. I don't have to make the base very thick because I'm cutting it off anyway, but yeah, like some of them are interesting, and I understand that people see videos and think of me. My mom's done it before too. Um, like see pottery videos and are like, "Oh, that's cool." And you do